Hello, my name's A.B. Katz, and this is the first in a series of video book reviews/summaries. The first book that I'm going to talk about is Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. I would hold up the book, but I read it on my Nook e-reader, so I do not have a copy. So I highly recommend this book. It's able to mix a very entertaining read with a lot of information about, as the title of the book says, the psychology of persuasion. The author, Robert Cialdini, is a PhD in social psychology and professor of social psychology with a focus on influence. In the book, he describes what he considers the 6 main weapons of influence and shows how they can both be used for an individual to persuade others and how to understand these concepts to prevent an individual from being persuaded by others when they don't want to be persuaded. So the 6 different weapons are reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, authority, liking or likeness, and scarcity. I'm going to go over these 6 different terms in brief. So reciprocity is basically people are more likely to help out if you help them. It's a evolutionarily inbuilt system, kind of, tit for tat. If somebody does something bad to you, you want to get revenge. If someone does something good for you, you want to help out and build that relationship so in the future both of you can depend on each other. So using this information, an individual can, if they want something from somebody, they can act nice to that person, give them a small gift, and, in general, this just forms a strong relationship and probably happens naturally without anybody even being aware of it. But you got to be aware, especially when someone's trying to sell you something, is doing something for you, because they might be trying to use this inbuilt nature to take advantage of you. When a salesperson offers you something for free, or when the Hare Krishna, for example, would give away flowers and then know after giving that gift that individuals would feel that they have to give something in return. So basically it's a very basic concept, but just having the knowledge of it can go a long way in helping you, understand how to persuade others and avoid the persuasion of people that you don't want to be persuaded by. So the next is commitment and consistency. So when someone feels committed to something, they want to remain consistent. They want to remain on the course, as politicians like to say. So basically in sales, this is oftentimes called the foot in the door technique. So if you're able to get a small yes from an individual, get them to agree on something, then they can go further and further and use that to get someone to do something larger than the initial ask. So basically if you're after something large, asking for, something small in the beginning can be a great way to, as I mentioned, get your foot in the door and begin building that relationship. Conversely, be aware when it's being used on you. I know it's sort of similar for all of these principles. I'm going to try not to repeat too much. All right. The next is social proof. And so social proof is basically humans are social animals, and we look at what decisions other people make to help us inform our own decisions. So, when a brand advertises and they say, the most Coca-Cola, the most popular drink in America, or 4 out of 5 people prefer this gum, or whatever it is, that acts as proof that an item is worthwhile. So basically, it can also be used, if you can have testimonials on a website to show that other people care about something. And basically, social proof in general is strong, and it can even be strengthened when the person who has the social proof is someone who is very close to you, and that you might respect their opinion more than just another person. The next concept is authority. So authority is basically we are influenced by people in positions of power and experts and people that just have an elevated level of status and expertise. And this is famously demonstrated in the Milgram experiment, in which a social psychologist got people to act as doctors and wearing the lab coat and everything, and saying, shock this individual and just follow my instructions, and they'd hear these screams of agony, and many people would go to these high levels of electricity that would have killed a person if the experiments were real. Then it just shows you how powerful authority is. Bernie Madoff, for example, was the president of NASDAQ. Who would think that the president of NASDAQ would put together a big scam? So basically, at least I'd say authority is one of the strongest principles, and there's many ways to help build your level of authority to help you be able to persuade others, and including getting credentials, writing for some periodical in your chosen field, dressing sharp, whatever it may be. There's just a lot of ways to develop this. Liking. So this one is, if you've ever read the book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Gain Influence, it talks all about this, which is basically people want to work with people that they like. If someone feels that they have something in common with you, that they get along with you, they instantly, it starts to build this rapport, this trust, and that goes a long way. It makes people, want to work together, and they can oftentimes forget the details and the fine print, and just want to work with someone because they like them, that they trust them, that they have this rapport. And that's just very basic. It's very, very natural as well. And then the last concept is scarcity. So scarcity is, why are diamonds worth more than, some quartz? It's rare, and because it's rare, we place a lot of value on it. People, there's the quote, no one wants to be in a club that they're invited into. If someone feels that they can't get into something, it makes it all that much more valuable. Bernie Madoff made it very difficult for new investors to invest in his hedge fund, and, made people have to really ask to be a part of it, turning the situation around. So there's definitely ways of generating scarcity for your services or business, and it's definitely something worth looking into. As I mentioned in the beginning, these are weapons in a way. They're not actual literal weapons, but in a way that they're very powerful, and I really recommend the use of them responsibly. They can be used for good and they can be used for bad. They can be used for social change, to call people to action to improve the world, and you can use them to avoid being scammed or ripped off, etc. And you could use them in a good way in a business too. It's not like just using these ideas are harmful, but be careful. People do what they do, but I'm not advising to misuse these by any means. And one last point is, these are 6, different ideas. There's definitely some overlap between some different ones. But in the words of Charlie Munger, you combine a number of them and you get Lollapalooza effects. And by Lollapalooza effects, I know it's a strange word. It's basically, if you have 2 or 3 of these different concepts together, it's not necessarily 2 or 3 times as strong. It can be 10 times as strong, 20 times as strong in influencing another person, or visitors to a website, whatever it may be. So, look at how these different ideas can interact, and how you can use them in a very strong way, to help influence others. And in conclusion, I hope you learned a lot from this video, and I still recommend that you check out the whole book. It is a very fun read, and it goes much more in depth in these different ideas. And, keep tuned for the next of these. All the best. Bye.